Shut up and sit down.
I think you're gonna have a good Christmas, all right?
You smell like beef and cheese. You don't smell like Santa.
For Christmas is a big red bicycle. Give me one with a great big seat and fenders and a bell.
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Legrand,
Sir Ian Gibson,
Lance Hapler, and Jake Von Turing. Merry happy Christmas holidays to all, and to all a good bike ride.
All I want is to ride along with you.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Gonna take my big red bike out for a ride.
Oh, fudge.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I'm Jake Von Turing, here with Lance friggin' Hepler.
Lance freaking Hepler. Merry freaking Christmas.
Oh, good call.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
It
Thank
is.
you.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Oh, well called. Yeah, I like that. To his right, and I didn't cue this up right yet, just yet, but yeah, it'll be Sir Ian Gibson.
Yeah, there it is.
Hello, everybody.
What just happened?
Christmas humbug.
There it is. All right.
I like that.
What's up, you bloke? Tossers. All right, and last but not least, the one and only Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? You guys look all right, and Merry New Year.
Merry New Year.
There's this old movie called like Trading Places. It's like
Eddie Murphy, Dan
Aykroyd, and they like blackface themselves, which is
It's not
really
PC
aged well.
anymore, no.
But like they come onto the train, Merry New Year, Merry New Year, and so my little brother and I are always like, Hey, Merry New Year. That's our thing. That's our thing.
Okay.
Now it's our thing. So what's
going on here?
Lance is breaking something out.
I brought Christmas gifts.
It's drugs.
OMG.
It's drugs.
Fantastic games.
These are little boxes of homemade.
Hold on, let me see if I brought you anything. Hold on, Lance, here it is.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was expecting from you.
Lance is number
Giant
one.
middle finger. These are homemade
wow.
chocolates from the Hepler because screw your stupid weight loss goals for the holidays. They're homemade chocolates from the Hepler.
Those are good. That puts C's Candy to shame.
Yeah.
I'm only
That
going
is
to eat 8
some
of these
talent
on air. Well, I think it might be nice if Jake has to listen to us chew on things over the
Easily
microphone.
remedied. I'm going to spend the
He's an
extra
asshole, sir.
30 minutes on Zwift.
What's his name? That is his name, sir. Asshole. Major asshole. How many assholes we got?
We got all the assholes.
You're going to spend an extra 30 minutes on the trainer?
In
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Mr.
What?
Hepler.
That's early for my wife. This is from me. You get rocks.
Oh,
sweet.
You get
rock talk.
Rocks from my latest
Yeah,
rock hounding adventure. These are from the
Petrified
St.
wood.
George area, collected in October. What?
Petrified wood.
It's petrified wood?
Petrified wood, yeah.
Petrified wood from Hurricane Mesa outside of St. George, Utah.
Lovely.
I love having these rocks.
There's a dumb rock you can pitch out your window as you're driving home.
This has been Rock Talk.
I
Miss rock talk.
like the rock. I like rock talk.
This is awesome, Lance.
I think
Thank you.
we could separate and have like a specific rock like podcast.
Yeah, we could.
That'd be very interesting.
I know a lot
I've got a building little collection of
of
Hepler
rocks I've given to you.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Are the chocolates good? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're actually hand dipped chocolates.
What flavor did you get of chocolate? Chocolate plus what?
It's got like some coconut to it.
All right.
It's really good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Thanks, mate.
How about some backpedaling?
Backpedal.
Who would like to go first this week? Matt's got a mouthful of chocolate, so I should call on him, technically.
I always go first.
Then
Not
go for it,
allowed to.
dude.
Okay. I just got out of the water. Swim. Okay. I mean, I think I probably swim I'm swimming like once or twice a week.
What color
Not a
Speedo
ton.
were you wearing?
The tightest mankini.
Mankini.
The tightest
Are you
and
wearing a
smallest
speeder
man-
from 20 pounds ago? That's
yeah.
perfect.
Oh, yeah. Of course I am. You think I'm going to change suits
No.
just because I've gained 40 pounds? No, not going to happen.
Banana yellow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's banana yellow with a nice red racing stripe.
Sweet.
Right down the back. Right down the thong. It's a thong.
I feel like it was brown to me, but yeah.
Thong. Because you got to feel the water.
That's right.
Got on Zwift a couple times. You know, here's the thing about this is like I've hopped on Zwift and I need people, our listeners, to join us on Zwift because each time I've hopped on Zwift, Tuesday and Thursday, there's only been like 3 people.
We've had team rides on Zwift, and they have been poorly attended so far. I did one last week, and there was one other person. Yeah, same thing.
That's sort of thing. It was like I'd start with like 2 people, one person would drop out pretty quick, and then I'm like,
it's typical for right around the holidays, like a week or
really?
2 before. And I don't know what it is though. It's just people get super busy, but the numbers dip down quite a bit usually. But they've been like really low this year. It's like almost like people are like fighting tooth and nail. Like I don't want to ride on the trainer.
I think Hannel was on there on Tuesday, and I wasn't because normally I'll talk on like the not Slack, the Discord.
Yeah.
And I think he was like waiting and pulling me up, and it ended up just being like him trying to pull me up to the group like the whole time. And like I was like maxed out for the first whatever it was, 20 minutes or whatever. And then I'm like, Hannel, you gotta just go. I gotta like drop out of the group and do my own. Anyway, it was still great. It's still fun. Or maybe it was 30 minutes. I've been trying to make it 30 minutes.
Here's a what if. What if we recorded a podcast
on
and piped it into Discord and had a conversation with some other people while we did one of those Tuesday or Thursday rides?
That'd be great.
That could be fun.
That could be fun.
Ian's over here shaking his head no.
Well,
all you'll hear.
I don't think I'm even ready for a dialed training pace Zwift ride.
Well, that's the thing. We need to like maybe we should have like a special training ride or something, or maybe we keep it the normal thing. But like, if it gets to the point where we're working hard or we're on a hot lap or something like that, the conversation just dies. Like, and that's not great listening for a podcast.
Yeah.
So I think we should probably like alter the ride, or when we have the hot lap, the people that are a part of the podcast or whatever, just like, yeah, we're still keeping it zone 2.
No, we could do that. That could be fun. Or you could do the rubber band thing, keep everybody together, and then we can just sit on the back and let them drag us along and then, do our thing.
That could work.
Stay tuned.
I think we talked about this last week, but one of the funny things on our trip when we rode with Chris with Horner last week was me sort of being right on the rivet going over these little roller climbs, like fighting for breath, and he just never let up in this flow of conversation, just like he wasn't even working. Just
what do you think
blah,
he was?
blah, blah, blah,
I mean, because he's pretty
blah.
light. He's not huge.
He's like 145 pounds.
Yeah. So he's probably putting out, when he's going over these little rollers, 350.
Yeah, 350.
That's probably not hard for him.
No.
Does he ever pin on a number anymore? Do any kind of like?
No.
Yeah.
No? Nothing?
No.
All right.
It makes sense for him to be retired, but he probably goes and rides because he does announcing stuff, and
he does, and he does his whole Tour de France breakdown every day,
and he
during
rides
the
tour.
tours. Yep,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
he's got to be in decent enough shape to get over the mountains. But
no, he didn't ride the course. He did it from Bend. He did it from his home in Bend. He just watched the whole race.
Who was it that was riding the course? There was one of the announcers,
Christian.
Oh yeah,
Christian Van de Velde.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think Bob Rowe doesn't ride the whole route, but he'll get out and ride some of the segments or like towards the beginning of the ride
in the morning.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
can't wait for the Tour de France to crank up again.
Yep. Anything else, Mr. Legrand?
And I've been running, so I've been doing all 3 sports, loving it, living the dream.
Nice,
living the dream.
Killy's doing all right?
No, but
no,
it's a killing me, but it's yeah. I mean, I just don't even care anymore. I'm like, oh yeah, it hurts, but it always hurts. So I just do my 3 miler. I did 7 miles. I think I did 7 on Sunday.
Good for you.
Life's good. Whenever I can run, I'm happy. So
sweet, Gibbo.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to unlock your full potential? I want to introduce you to the Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast, a powerful resource to transform your life today. With expert interviews, practical tips, and inspiring stories, this podcast is your roadmap to lasting wellness. Here's what a listener has to say.
I used to struggle with my health, but this podcast changed everything. It's like having a personal trainer, nutritionist, and life coach totally for free.
With over 2,000 5-star reviews, we're a podcast you can trust. The Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, a week ago we were doing bigger miles. I think I did something like 280 miles the previous week, so I was kind of trying to keep that going a little bit this week. My knee's bothering me, but I did put in a 60-mile ride 2 days ago outside.
Where'd you go?
Did not get. I did my little tour of urban Portland.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Marine Drive. Had a coffee downtown in Portland, and then came back along
by yourself.
Springwater. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good route.
Yeah.
They've cleaned it up. A lot,
you can pick up the pace on Marine Drive if you want to.
Yes, especially if you have the east wind behind you. It's good. Aside from that, I have been on Zwift a couple of times. I finally bit the bullet and dialed down my FTP. Swallowed my pride and got it more to where it needed to be. And so my workouts are manageable now, I guess.
That's
also, I should mention, I took Training Peaks Virtual for a test ride a couple of days ago. And it's pretty good.
Yeah, I've had a few people report back and say that they quite like it. And it's free right now, too. So if you're looking for a super cheap or free alternative.
The routes are obviously more limited. What I liked about it is it integrates with Training Peaks, the application, seamlessly. Like it picks up your zones and your power data and your workout. So when you go onto Training Peaks Virtual, the workout you're prescribed for that day or that you've prescribed yourself is right there, ready to start. And all your FTP and everything from Training Peaks goes straight in there.
Sure.
The other thing was at the end of the ride, it was not seamless, or I did not find a seamless way to record the ride into Strava. I had to manually upload the fit file.
Is your Training Peaks connected with Strava? Or it's because it's usually
Training Peaks does not connect directly to Strava.
It usually receives from it, but doesn't necessarily send to it, right?
The way I have it usually is Training Peaks is connected to Garmin and Garmin's connected to Strava.
Okay.
So if your Garmin is not involved in that chain, like if you're just doing a Swift ride, then it doesn't. Wait a minute. Oh, Swift is connected to Garmin too, but I don't know that Training Peaks Virtual is. Anyway,
maybe we're digging into
sort that out.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, it was a pretty good experience overall.
Like it.
Yeah.
Hepler, what about you? What's up?
Matt, do you have some breaking news there?
Breaking news. 35,000 subscribers.
Yes.
35,000 subscribers. Matt, that's fantastic.
He just crossed over 35,000 subscribers on his
on
YouTube channel.
On air. We've been waiting for some sort of milestone.
That's like refresh.
Actually, I think if I refresh, I'll probably go. Yeah, 3506. But yeah, anyway.
You picked up
you got six more in the last
subscribers, baby.
That's because he put out
a video yesterday.
An Apple Watch video, and anything Apple is very
Is that taking
popular.
off? Is it hitting pretty good?
It's doing okay. It's doing like so. Certain things do well on my channel, like bike wheels, which I posted last week. Not good. Cycling computers don't do that great. They do okay sometimes, but most of the time they don't. Watch stuff does well. And then it's by popularity of the watch. So Apple Watch stuff does pretty well. This is a little bit older now. The higher end watches typically do better than like low end watches. Although I usually like to cover the low end watches because I'm sometimes more excited about like good value.
Yeah.
So this is Apple Watch Series 10. So it's kind of like not super high end Apple Watch Ultra stuff. And it's got 5,000 views in a day. So it's good. Very good.
Sweet, dude.
Solid.
Nice.
It's a solid. It's in my ranking. Have you ever looked at the rankings?
Yeah.
So it's 4 out of 10.
Okay.
So not like you don't get like if you have a video that's the top video out of the last 10 videos, you get these little fireworks from YouTube. It's like just like a little like I don't know fun little game that they like to play. Like hey, look, you got a popular video, and this one's 4 out of 10. So not bad.
65,000 more before you get your big. Was it the platinum plaque?
I feel like at this point I'm just giving up on those dreams. Like it's just so far away.
I don't know, dude. It's gonna happen.
They'll probably change the metrics as soon as I get close. Like I get towards 90, they'll be like,
"Oh, it's
now
250
you need to get 1 million before you get a plaque."
Right.
We'll send you a email of a picture of one.
Love it.
Virtual badge.
Virtual badge. Way to go.
Thanks.
Well, that was some good breaking news. Hep, what you got?
Yes, I did. This has been a recovery week for me, more or less. I only rode twice all week, so I've been taking it fairly easy. Because one of the things is because my daughters just bought a home in Washougal, and I've been helping prep the house for them to move in. So lots of painting, and I redid a bunch of cabinets in their kitchen and So I've just been doing manual labor all
When
week.
you redo the cabinets, are you taking out old stuff and putting in new stuff, or are you just like going in
as
and
cheaply
fixing
as
things?
possible. This is all on their dime, so we did it as cheaply as possible. We just repainted their cabinets that they had.
Okay.
So took them
Still
all
take
apart.
everything out, yeah.
Had to take them out. I painted them out in their shed, and then had to reinstall them all. So
How's it looking?
It looks fantastic. It looks great. So
What's the move-in time frame? Are they moving in like a week or so?
Probably like in the next couple days, right here with Christmas.
Are they going to be in Christmas in their new house?
Probably, because
They need
all my
Christmas. They need a
kids
little
are
Christmas
home
tree.
and we don't all fit in our house now with their significant others.
Significant others, yeah.
So they'll probably stay in their new house. So there's room in, so anyway, that's all.
Because it is, where are we at? Like 4 days till Christmas?
It
or
is
something? No, 5 days.
Friday, the 20th.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
All day long,
Tuesday,
the 20th. Yeah.
The 20th.
5 more days till Christmas.
You and Brandy could always sleep out in the van.
Yeah.
That's
Also
true.
true. Forget that. But yeah, I do sleep pretty well in the van. But I did ride my bike this week. Still did that. I did the ugly Christmas sweater fundraiser ride for Kids for Bikes that Out Cycling puts on. It started sprinkling. It was sprinkling a little bit at the start, but then it dried out. So it was really kind of a lovely day, just wet.
It was the same exact thing as last year. It like when I was driving to the lab, it was pouring pretty good. It was like, oh crap, nobody's going to show up. It's going to be miserable. Get into the parking lot. A couple minutes later, it stops and the sun comes out. So the ground was wet, but for the most part, I don't think you guys saw really any raindrops, did you?
No.
So
not really.
Made for a nice day.
Lovely ride. We rode downtown Vancouver with, I don't know, there was a group of 20 of us or something
25,
like
yep.
25. So rode to downtown Vancouver, stopped for some coffee, and then as soon as that ended, as soon as we left the coffee shop, I rode with the Hannels, Chris and Kylie, who are both freaking fast and very fit. And they're like, Hepler, you coming with us? And I'm like, okay. And they were on their road bikes. I was on my gravel bike with big giant tires, and they just drilled me into the ground.
Yeah.
I could not stay with them.
Hatfield was with you as well, right?
Hatfield
and
also.
he was on a gravel bike, if I'm not mistaken, or his cross bike.
He was
maybe?
on a cross bike with slick tires on it. So plus Hatfield can just climb fast. Yeah. I had this like whole great week down in San Diego with Ian where I'm feeling really good about myself, and I was just smack humbled. Like riding with them for like 15 miles. I finally got to the point where like I'm holding you guys up too much. Just go. I will find my way home. And I'm like, they're like, oh, it's because you got those big slow tires on. I'm like, no, that wasn't completely it. So anyway, that was nice. And then I had a really weird experience last night. I went for a ride because it's been dry and like 55 degrees here, which has been kind of warm for December. I'm riding last night. It was dusk. It was dark, and I came up to an intersection on Mill Plain, which is one of the main roads in Vancouver. It's a road you don't ride on because it's way too much traffic. It's really busy, but I came up to Mill Plain, and I saw it's a very busy traffic, and a dog ran through the intersection with a police cruiser right behind it with lights and sirens trying to like keep the traffic from stopping as this dog ran through. Pit bull trailing a leash and wearing a coat. The dog's wearing a coat and trailing a leash, and it's just running through the intersection. And the cop goes through, and then he whips around the dog to try to like jump out of his car and like grab it, and the dog just like head juked him and went right around him. And so I joined the chase because
that's hilarious.
Because why not? None of the other cars
There's nothing
could stop.
better than bike shoes when you're trying to chase.
No,
something.
I rode my bike.
Oh yeah, well,
so
I
I
know that,
chased
but, like,
it. I chased it on my bike. So the cop jumps up ahead, and the dog switched from running with traffic into the opposite lanes, running against traffic, right down the white line between the two lanes going the opposite direction. And it just was not stopping and just running. And finally, the cop got far enough down. We tried 3 times to stop it.
The cop at some point just be like, sorry, I shot your dog.
Yeah, well, I don't know if people were nervous about helping because it was a pit bull,
yeah.
or if they were nervous because it was dark and the dog was just like running, and then it was in the wrong, and you couldn't get out and like stop it. But what happened? The cop gets far enough down the road that he pulls.
This is last night.
This is last night.
Oh my gosh.
He gets far enough down the road that he stops traffic from coming the other direction. And because there was no traffic, I was able to ride up next to the dog and like kind of corral it into one like narrow lane, and the dog ran right to the cop when we did that. So I like corralled the dog along like the sidewalk where he didn't want to, and the dog just stopped immediately when the cop actually was able to grab it. And the dog was totally friendly. He wasn't being aggressive. It was nothing. It's like he got spooked at something and started running and just took off. Apparently the dog had been running for about 3 or 4 miles straight down Mill Plain.
Oh my gosh.
So no tags on the dog. Pretty sure it was a homeless guy's dog, and he just lost control of it and it took off. And it was, I had to stand there and hold the dog while the cop like called animal control or tried to get somebody to come down and help. The dog's paws were all bleeding because it had been running on the pavement for so long. And so, but finally, animal control came, and they were hoping to find where the owner was. And I think somebody stopped and said, "There's a homeless guy running down the road 3 miles back. I think it's his dog." So I don't know what happened, but I couldn't like wait any longer. But
how bizarre.
It was.
Did you get your junior officer badge?
It's like
stick on your chest, and
I helped corral the dog, and then I'm holding it, and then as soon as the cop had all the stuff, then I'm like, "Okay, well, thanks, I'm out of here." I asked him, "Do you know Dustin Guchel?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, we have a teammate who works for Vancouver Police Department." And so, he said some really good things about Dustin, which was really cool. And then I took off. I said, "You got this?" And he's like, "Yeah, thank you so much." And I took off. And so I'm telling my kids this and, about this experience. And they're like, "So you just like helped corral the dog and then just like said, 'Thanks, I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, just here to help,' and then took off." And I'm
friendly
like,
neighbor spandex man.
I'm the spandex man. So that was kind of interesting. We helped save the dog. So I think it's all going to turn out good. So that was kind of a crazy experience last night. That stuff doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't happen very often.
But
it's a good story.
Turned
Come
out
on,
good.
people.
Yeah.
Should have had a GoPro going.
Chase, I know. I tried to take some pictures with my phone, but I'm also like riding against traffic in the dark.
Yeah.
So
There's some Strava segment that's against traffic, and you've got it now.
it's all.
You should make it a
you
segment.
should make a
I should
segment.
make a
Make a segment where
Chasing
it's
the
like
dog.
it's going to be like impossible to break because you have to go against traffic.
Right. And the cop had traffic stop, so it was safe
Legal.
for me
It
to
was
ride.
legal.
It was legal. Yeah. So
Cops and canines.
yeah, that's right.
All right, Jake.
All right, Jake.
Backpedal?
Sorry.
I did a whole lot of nothing. Had a couple doctor's appointments, and
Are you cleared to another couple more weeks or what?
I guess I can disclose that because that is kind of technically backpedaling and cycling adjacent, if you will. They were originally telling me that I was going to have to be off the bike for up to 2 months, which was kind of sucking.
Yeah.
They were saying it was going to be like 4 to 6 weeks. And I went into my doctor's appointment this past week, and after going through a barrage of questions, and they did some other stuff to kind of figure out where it was at, he's like, "I'm really quite impressed with how well you're healing up and how quickly things are coming along." So he actually gave me the green light to start back at it January 1st. So
wow.
Yeah. So instead of it being like February 1st, I get a whole month of like, kind of, I can start right at the new year.
Do they want you to start slow and easy?
Yeah, just, obviously take it easy and make sure that you're not overdoing it, and like just, start with little chunks and see how your body responds. But I'm fine with that, and it's better than nothing. And I'll just slowly start ramping things up and doing some other minor things that will allow me to, have some injury preventative things going on. Like I need to do more flexibility work and some strength training and things of that nature, and then get back on the bike so it can all kind of start to come into focus right around January 1st. And who knows? Maybe I can actually have a season next year. That would be super cool.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Please, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I might have to like just quit, hang it up, and go do something else. All right, that's enough.
No, have a season. Have a season. That'd be way better. And,
Yeah.
and I saw the preliminary Obra calendar for 2025, and it's looking good. I think there's some good stuff in there that you'll enjoy.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a big year.
Yeah, well, I sure hope so, because it's been a bumpy ride for the last few years. So anyway, that's enough of that. hear me ramble on, but
Champ Bailey in sports.
Champ Bailey here in studio.
Champ is here.
Hold up, Champ.
Your face into a car windshield and then take your mother Dorothy Mantooth out for a nice seafood dinner.
Okay, that's all I want to hear. Thanks, Champ. All right, Champ, what's up, buddy?
We got Champ here. We had our Cyclocross National Championships in Louisville, Kentucky at Joe Creason Park, I believe it was. We had our elite races went off on Saturday. They kind of switched up the schedule this year, which was great. Instead of the elites all going on Sunday, the last day, they had them go on Saturday. So the crowds were much better.
Yeah, they could hang out and watch these people and get inspired.
Because there were a bunch of juniors and masters that were racing on Sunday. So everybody was there. And so for the elite races, which was kind of pretty cool. The men's elite race was exciting, was very good.
Okay.
So there were 3 main guys that have been good all year, which is Andrew Strohmeyer, Eric Bruner, and Scott Funston. Bruner had recently just won the Pan American Championships that was in Missoula, Montana. And those 3 guys kind of got away and stayed together for the entire race battling. Wow. Bruner, who was kind of the favorite because of the way he races, he was able to get a little bit of a gap, but then he like fumbled a corner and went over his bars, and everybody and the other 2 caught back up to him, Strohmeyer and who's the other guy, Funston. But they ended up all coming back together right before the very end. The last time over the barriers, Strohmeyer was able to hop them. The other 2 had dismounted because there were you couldn't get a really good run at the barriers to like bunny hop them really easy. But Strohmeyer was able to do it, and he made just enough gap that he ended up winning by 1 second.
Won it on the barriers.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Andrew Strohmeyer is our new national champion. He's pretty young. I think this is the first time he's raced as an elite. He's been racing U23 the last couple years. So kind of exciting. The women's race was won by almost an unknown. And I think it's because she's 19 years old.
Oh, wow.
A 19-year-old won. Her name is Vida Lopez de San Ramon. And second was Katie Klaus, and third was Raylan Nuss. Those are 2 very well-known names in cyclocross. But Vida, I don't know what her first name, what she goes by exactly, but Vida won as a 19-year-old. She completely skipped the U23 category. She races a junior last year, won that, and so decided to go right to the elites, and she ended up pulling away and winning the race.
Wow.
So
she was probably looking at the field and being like, there's an open opportunity. There's not like the Claire Hunsingers, and there's not like the dominant group that there used to be.
Right.
So it's the time. Go for it, right?
So
smart decision.
Where's she from? Do you know?
This says Sebastopol, California. I said that wrong. What is it?
I have no... Sebastopol?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of it.
Sebastopol. Isn't that up near San Luis Obispo?
Maybe.
Or
I've never heard of it.
Santa Barbara area? Okay, really.
Unless you're saying it different, or I don't know, but...
Anyway. Yeah, she's from there. So pretty exciting. We did have Brenna Reed Simpson from Portland. She raced in the elite field. She got 14th in the elite field. So she races for Team S&M. She's very popular in Obra bike racing. She does.
Wait, what's her name?
Brenna Rice Simpson.
Okay.
So she races for Team S&M for Selwood Cycle. So and Robin Cummings also raced the elite men's field.
Okay.
So they won the non-binary a couple days before,
right?
And they raced the elite field and finished 28th.
Hey, that's good.
Out of like 40.
It's good to see them kind of bounce back. It was kind of hit bumpy, turbulent times for them for a bit. We're just kind of trying to get back into the groove, and it's fun to see them find the fitness and get out there and race and have some good results.
So very exciting. As far as Obra racers, we had 15 or 20 Obra racers that went and did the race. We only had one teammate that went this year, and that was Whitney Hayden from Hood River. She raced in the junior 13 to 14-year-old, and I'm not sure what happened. I wasn't able to see the race, but she finished just outside the top 10.
Cool.
So I think she was hoping to do better than that. So I don't exactly know.
You never know what happens in these races, right? Like so many things can go down.
Yes. Highlights from Obra racers. Stephanie Utrecht from Bend. Her son and her husband also races. Her husband's in my field. She raced in the women's 55 to 59. She took third.
Podium.
Yep, she made the podium. Who else did really well? Masters men 55 to 59. Paul Borsier took seventh.
Wow.
So he was hoping to make the podium, which is a wide angle podium at Nationals, which is top 5. But there were a lot of hitters there. So Borsier took seventh. Adrian Bosch, who races for Group Trail.
Okay.
He races for Group Trail. He took 10th in the 45 to 49 field, which is fantastic result. So, and Michael Nyberg, also from Bend, Men Masters 65 to 69. He took 5th in his field. So we had lots of racers. Those are the ones that were either on the podium or close to the podium. So congrats.
Sweet.
Nice.
What else happened? We had a big cyclocross race in Namur, Belgium, the UCI cyclocross race. That course is just fantastic because it is brutal. There are unrideable sections.
Really? It's all the things, sand and...
It's not so much sand, but off camber, muddy hills. Like they take the course down this very steep off camber section that goes all the way along the off camber section for like 150 yards or something. So most people can't ride it. It's slick enough that you can't ride it, and so you hop off and you end up running. And I think Toon Ertz was leading and trying to ride it, and then just fumbled and hit a stake and went over the bars and wasn't injured because you're not going very fast, but he
then
lost
if you get tangled
positions.
up and exactly.
Yeah, so Michael Van Tarnaert ended up pulling out the win, which was pretty unbelievable. Good for him. He's having a fantastic year. Ellie Easterbit, who has started really well, pulled out of this race. He only made it a few laps and pulled out. I guess he's struggling with some piriformis syndrome. You guys know what that is?
Yeah, it's kind of the back of your leg or back.
It's in your ass muscle.
Yeah. Upper hamstring.
Upper hamstring.
Yeah.
And piriformis muscle, when there's not enough room for it, it puts pressure on your sciatic nerve. So it gives you like sciatica symptoms. And he's been struggling with that for a couple years. It came out.
Okay. Yeah.
And it kind of slapped him there a little bit. So, Van Tarnaert won. Celandel Alvarado won the women's race, which was a bit of an upset because Lucinda Brand has kind of owned this race for years, and she took second. So that's what happened there. Other than that, I got no other racing news.
What's coming up?
Well, coming up, we've got the Christ period in Belgium, which is really the Christmas period.
Isn't there a big race in like 2 days?
Yeah, there's a big. So today's Friday. There's a big race on Sunday, I believe, and then there's a race.
Sounds right. Because
There's
that's
like
MVP's first race.
Yes,
I think. I might be getting.
And there's like 10 races in like 10 days or 12 days. So between Christmas and New Year's, there's almost a race every single day to watch.
You can get your Rafa 500 if you want to do all of those miles. You can watch cyclocross.
You can watch cyclocross and watch those miles.
Only the question is where you just do it on YouTube, right?
I try to do it on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
Just 'cause it's easier to navigate than some of the other races. We do have Vanderpool who will be racing many of those races. Wout is doing one or two of those races. Pidcock has finally announced that no cyclocross this year.
Okay.
He's not doing any cyclocross this year. He wants to focus on getting to know his team, his brand new team a little bit better, making some connections with them, and hopefully be ready for the spring classics a little bit better. So that's the deal with Pidcock. No, we will have no cyclocross Pidcock this year.
Okay.
Champ out.
Champ Bailey out. All right.
Sweet. I'm going to use this for not the Patreon. Not quite yet. We're going to get there. Chain mail.
Chain mail.
Chain mail.
Chain
Yeah,
mail.
Yeah,
New segment on the show, chain mail.
Yeah, so we've got our little thing that's on all of the podcasts where you can send us a text and it comes through. We don't get to see who you are. We don't get much information other than the last 4 digits of your phone number.
It's anonymous, so they can say anything to us.
That is correct.
Exactly. It does show where they're calling from or sending the message from, so we can at least refer to that. Not too many messages, just one. We had another person that gave us another recommendation for the title of this segment, and I just wanted to put that out there, and we'll let the listeners have a competition for naming this, so this could be a fluid thing. A listener from Connecticut said, how about Who Spoke?
Who spoke?
Who spoke?
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Who spoke or chainmail?
I kind of like Who Spoke.
Who spoke?
I just think something about having something spoken there is really smart.
Yeah, chain is good. And
chain is good.
Chainmail, but Who Spoke?
I like chain, and actually, I like Rock Talk.
Rock Talk. It's a whole different podcast.
Oh wait, that's a different.
I bet you there is a podcast named Rock Talk.
It probably is.
It's about rock and roll or something instead of rocks.
So anyway,
chainmail. I like chainmail.
Chainmail better than Who Spoke?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll have to. I don't know. We'll have to maybe poll the people. Maybe tell us which one do you guys like better, Who Spoke or Chainmail, or you got something better. Also, just send us a message. Is there anything that you guys want to hear from the listeners? Anything that you want to have them respond to?
It'd be great for them to, like, if there's a certain product they'd want us to talk about or review, that'd be nice. Actually, I've got some news about the Wahoo Ace element, but I'll get to that.
I want to hear about that.
But yeah, if listeners want to hear about a certain product, or if they want to hear about a certain race that one of us has done, or an upcoming race, or something like that could be interesting because we've done a lot of races in this.
Yeah. I'm also curious, like, what was your favorite podcast of this year? I mean, what was it that you liked about it? Which one was like engaging for you? And would you like more of the same? Something along the lines of whatever it is that we talked about. So you want more coaching stuff from Coach Gibbo? You want some, I don't know, more race inspired talk? I don't know. What did you guys want to hear? Curious to know.
I'd be curious too.
Yeah. And then let us know if you're watching Matt Legrand's videos as well. Chime in there. Say hi and give him a subscribe so we can get up to that 100,000 mark. That'd be kind of cool. So
that'd be fun.
Gibbo, is there anything that you'd like to hear from the people?
Well, I'm just like to hear their performance/training questions.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that was a good one for you.
What's a good way to prepare for this race or that, or what should I be doing this time of year, or should I be in the gym, or all those kind of things?
Yep. Good coaching question
never
would
go
be
to the gym.
Solid.
At least we have one like semi-professional type dude on the show that actually knows a few things. And I just make crap up and make it sound like I know what I'm talking about.
And I do the opposite. I make stuff up and make it sound like I still don't know what I'm talking about.
It's a good team.
Works perfectly for me. So far, so good.
But you do have that corner of the market. You really, our listeners do like to hear prolonged, drawn out questions of sandbagging cyclocross races.
They love the sandbag.
They keep coming back.
They keep coming back for that.
Love it.
I think
if you
you're
should be
into a
racing
winning
Cat
recipe
1,
anyway.
but you're
Why
racing
change
Cat
it?
5.
That's right.
All right. Let's move on. But yeah, do reach out to us and give us a review while you're at it. Good or bad or indifferent. But like Matt said, 5 stars.
Either somewhere between 5 or 5.
Yeah, somewhere in 5 stars.
Somewhere in the 5 range.
Yeah. All right.
Do you want to hear about the Element Ace stuff?
I do. I do actually. Let's do it.
It's quick.
Let's do it.
Okay, go for it.
It's always time.
There were a couple big issues with it beforehand where like the bell didn't work on every page. And workouts, I couldn't get a workout to upload, and all that stuff is fixed.
Firmware update,
It must have firmware update. I didn't even do it. It just
some big firmware update.
Some big firmware update happened. Now the audible bell, it works on every single page.
That's good.
So you double tap a map screen.
Yeah, but you don't double tap like on the main screen. You double tap it right down above the middle button, like on the screen, and that will happen anywhere. So if there's 3 main buttons on the bottom, and you just above that on the actual glass screen, if you double tap there, it'll ding the bell on every single page.
Now, do you have to know this, or is there like an audible thing that says bell and you
Nope.
can
It
just
is
learn?
Nope. You got to know it.
It's so funny. I just bought a bicycle bell for a family member for a little stocking stuffer.
Yeah.
Good
It was
gift.
$12.
Yes, right.
And you just press the button, it goes
and
ding.
it dings. Yeah, but it's something else on your handlebars. Anyway, so that's good.
Yeah, because you're worried about that with the Ace. You're like, you have this iPad
freaking
on your
giant
handlebars, and you're like,
It's
but
still
what
very
about the
big.
real estate? What about the real estate? Okay, keep going.
The other thing is I've been doing workouts on it. All of a sudden, the workouts just started showing up too. So I have workouts for the day. Like I did 4x15 sweet spot in like a couple days ago, and that all just came right up, and it works flawlessly on the Ace.
Did that work out on the road? Out on the road?
I did it on a gravel bike.
Gravel bike? Okay.
Yeah. So
What's a glaring omission that's still there that you're like, gosh, you guys need to get this fixed ASAP?
I'm not.
You haven't even tested Strava segments because that's not something you mess around with.
I don't. I think that it's now in the. You can turn on Strava segments and off, but I haven't seen a Strava segment pop up, a live Strava segment pop up yet.
Well, that's that's only going to happen if you have the premium, and you don't have premium, right?
No,
wait, you don't have anything
He
to
just
start.
doesn't star.
You have to have it starred, and I only have like 2 segments starred.
Star a route.
I need to star. I need to star a couple things.
Just try to test it out.
So,
what else was missing? Do you remember?
One of the things is routes. Finding routes. It's not organized by like
the way it's filtered.
Yeah. And so you have to search and you have to remember the name of the route. And oftentimes you can't remember the name of the route that if you're searching just on the actual computer. So that's something else. But the bell fix was a big deal.
Okay.
It works on every page because I like to ride with the map up.
Yeah.
And the bell didn't work on the map page. So I'd come up on somebody and have to like try to swipe to a different page so I could hit the bell. But now it works on the bell page.
Did you ding the dog?
Page. Yeah, I dinged it lots of times.
Dinged it at the dog?
Yeah, Oh, I did not.
Okay.
No.
How's battery life been?
I did a 3-hour ride and I finished it like 85%.
Okay.
So battery life has been great for me. So no problem. Man, gosh dang, I love the giant screen. I really didn't think I would say that.
Yeah.
I love how big the screen is.
When are you going to put an iPad on your front of your bike?
That's the next step.
It'd just be so big.
She got this ultra wide that Lance has got on his bike.
So I'm warming to it quite a bit.
Okay.
More than I thought I would, actually.
Interesting.
And how has the attachment been with because you have different handlebars that don't make it ideal? I have an Envy Mog gravel bike. Oh, okay.
And I have an Envy computer mount on that Envy Mog that it doesn't come with the bike, but it's one of their like steel mounts, not steel, it's aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
It fit on that bike, no problem.
It's no problem. It's because it's so big that it has a hard time fitting on a lot of the mounts that are out there.
Yeah,
it doesn't fit on my BMC, for example.
Yes, you have to have a different mount for it to fit. But the Mog, it fit a little easier. Of course, the Envy handlebars that I have on that bike they're not round, but they're lower profile, and it gave more room for the computer to fit. So
okay,
that's good to hear.
So what's your plans? Are you going to use this unless you're racing?
Until Jake makes me give it back to him. Okay. Yes. This is Jake's computer. It's not mine, but he can't ride just yet.
The hopes and plans are that I can actually use it in a couple weeks and take my 2 cents on it. And we want to do a little video review on it.
Yeah,
so
that'd be good.
It will be Jake's turn shortly. So I do like it a lot. I probably still will not race with it at this point unless it's a race where I don't care that much about the results.
Is it your favorite cycling computer that you've ever owned? Is it too early to ask that question?
It's probably too early to ask that, but it's pretty close at this point.
Okay.
I tell you what, I would not use it on my mountain bike. It is too big.
Just like flopping around.
Yes, too much bouncing, too much rocking around for that big giant thing. Because I keep my computer on my mountain bike on my stem.
Yeah.
I don't have it out in front of my handlebars.
That's what I do too.
And so I don't think I would want that giant thing on my stem.
Your stem's not long enough.
It is pretty small.
What if you got to like ding at a bear or something though? I mean, what are you going to do?
Just freaking
ram it.
I'm just ram that thing. Bears, they're scared of me anyway. Bears, they're not. Yeah.
Cool. Is that it?
Okay, sorry, that was too much. Bye.
All right, cool.
Tech Talk.
Uh-oh. Here he comes. All right. We got another little thing for you this week. We're going to do a little Coach's Corner with Coach Gibbo over here. So, what do you want to call it? Getting cheeky with Coach Gibbo or something? Coach Gibbo gets cheeky with us about training. Tosser's Corner. Tossing the salad with Coach Gibbo. He's always got good nuggets, and we're always talking about this stuff ahead of the podcast. And we're like, hey, stop talking. So we're just going to we're just going to put it in the podcast. Not the topic for the week, but it's a segment, and we're going to talk about something this week that was kind of on Ian's mind. So take over, Coach.
Take over. Wow, that's a segue. I thought we would talk about Zone 2 training since that's kind of what a lot of us are doing this time of year. Mm-hmm. I mean, it used to be called just steady state or long steady distance or whatever. But I mean, there's still some confusion over it. And I think
we got a lot of teammates that need to hear this as well.
Yes.
all dialed rides are Zone 2 from what I remember.
Yeah, right.
Come to the Wednesday rides. There's Zone 2, and there's always some knucklehead blasting off the front.
Yeah.
Hepler. I mean,
probably me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it comes down to, if you think about the basis of making any kind of improvements,
sure.
You do something a lot, you put a certain specific stress on your body, and over time, if you do that often enough, it adapts to it. And so what you're trying to adapt in Zone 2 training is your body's ability to process oxygen, right? Mm-hmm. And so Zone 2 is, so what is it? It's a pace that is easy enough to maintain for a longer duration. So if you were a marathon runner, you would be training at Zone 2 because that's a pace you can sustain for the whole.
Well, just like cycling,
event, right.
just like cycling, even marathon training, you want to do different zones. You train in different zones, but yes, you spend a lot of time in Zone 2.
A lot of time, yeah. So what you're trying to do is make adaptations to your muscle fibers, like the little mitochondria, the little organelles in your muscle fibers that process oxygen. You're trying to make your heart more efficient. You're growing extra capillaries into your type 1 muscle fibers. You're making all these adaptations if you do enough of it. If you push beyond Zone 2, then you start working a different body system, or the percentage of the work that you're doing through your aerobic system gets less and less as the intensity goes up, and you put more stress on your body. So adding extra intensity to those rides is really not a good idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
I find that the Zone 2 really is kind of an all-day pace, or it should be for you, but it is not easy.
Right.
It is not Zone 1.
It's not. Yeah. Right.
It's not like easy.
As we sit around here, we should all be, our heart rates should be quite low. Whatever. Like you can do Zone 1 based on heart rate, or you can do Zone 1 or Zone 2, or any of these zones based on heart rate, or you can do them based on power. There are other things you could do based on things, but like for the most part, those are the two big ones that people probably train based on: heart rate or power. Yeah. Especially when it comes to cycling or running.
For a cyclist, a lot of people will say, okay, I know what my FTP is.
Right.
This is the maximum power output I can sustain for something like 40, 45 minutes, say, up to an hour. And your Zone 2, you can work out as a percentage of that, something like 70 to 75%. But really, out on the road, a better model is how does it feel? And I like to say it's basically a conversational pace. Like if somebody rode up next to you, you could talk to them. It wouldn't be super comfortable. You'd be kind of thinking, I wish you'd shut up so I could just breathe. Right. But like Matt said, it's not an easy pace. So you're not just going out for a super easy ride. The other thing is if you do a Zone 2 ride and you look at your average power, and let's say it's 180 watts.
Yep.
Just throw out a number and you say, okay, that was a good zone 2 ride. But then you look at your normalized power and that was 210 watts. So there's a lot of variability in there. And so that ride probably contained lots of short, sharp efforts and whatever. And so it wasn't basically overall, it wasn't a zone 2 ride. A good zone 2 ride would have little variability in it.
Okay.
So your average heart rate would be very close to your your average power output would be very close to your normalized power. So,
how many, when you coach an athlete, how many zones do you use for power or heart rate?
Yeah, like I use the
Do you use
zone,
5 or
the
6?
the 6 zone model,
6 zone
the
model?
Andy
Okay.
Kogan model, and there's a 7th zone, which is like your neuromuscular zone, basically, where you're just firing for a few seconds at super high end power, but basically six power zones.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say my FTP is like 300. That's what I would say I'm close to right now. So when I do a zone 2 ride, I'm trying to keep watts between 200 and 230. So that's right around the range where my zone 2 rides would be. For me to ride like at 215 for like 4 hours steady, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting because those numbers sound high to me.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's really easy for the first hour.
Right.
Like, this is like too easy. And my heart rate is at like 125 for the first hour. And then it just starts to creep up as the time goes on. And the longer you can hold it in that zone 2, the more benefit you're getting to your aerobic base. So that's why, but it's really hard to do it for that long. Yet last night's ride that I did was supposed to be an hour and a half in zone 2. And
you were chasing the dog.
I stuck to it until I hit neuromuscular chasing
hour
the dog.
of that was, chasing a dog.
Chasing fighter.
But people should probably be spending quite a bit of time in zone 2, probably more time than they realize. What percentage of time do you think that people, like, if you look at their overall training block, what percentage of time do you think people should be spending in zone 2?
Well, it depends. Right now,
I guess you're right.
Base building season, I don't know. I've read that Tadej Pogacar spends sort of 80% of his time in training in zone 2.
But
his zone 2 is
340.
like, right.
That's similar to mine. Yeah. Our zone 2 very similar.
340.
My neuromuscular sprint is right in there with his zone 2. So,
but interestingly, you make the adaptations at zone 2 by increasing the volume. So you're not you don't want to increase the intensity. Then you're drifting out of zone 2. So then you start using different processes that are not what you're aiming to do. So over time, you can increase the distance or the duration of your zone 2 rides, and that means you are getting better aerobically. So you're laying down this aerobic base. If you think of a training towards an event as a pyramid of different intensity work, the base of that has to be a solid aerobic base.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you do these zone 2 rides in a group?
Yeah.
As long as it's not a dial group, you're good.
Well, I tell you what I do because
you sprint for stop sign.
It's a stop sign. I'm sprinting.
Okay.
I do find that I can do like a longer group ride in zone 2. You just have to be watching your power. And I guess people, if they know they're trying to do a zone 2 ride, you're going to be watching your power. If I'm in line with the group and I'm at 7th wheel, it might be too easy. I might not be doing enough wattage to really it be zone 2. It might be more zone 1 or recovery.
Yeah.
And so in that case, I either go to the front or I go to like 2nd wheel.
Yeah.
The 2nd wheel, you're not working as hard as the guy on front, but if the guy's going too slow, I might pull to the front to try to hold 220 watts or something like that if we're not drilling it. But I do find you can do zone 2 rides in a group. You just have to be able to slot yourself in to certain. If you're not in a spot where you can move up, I just pull out into the wind so that I'm working just a little bit harder than if I'm right in line, trying to hold that wattage.
A group ride, you know, because these workouts are longer, a group ride is a good place to be. But everybody is going to have a different power output at their zone 2.
Correct. Yes.
So it is harder to maintain a strict workout, although you're still going to get some benefits from it.
Sure,
of course.
Yeah.
That's it. We're having these rides, or we're trying to start these rides up on Saturday for as a group ride at zone 2, and that's one way to manage it, right? If you are the stronger guy, you'll be on the front, and the guy behind you is putting out, you know, more effort. Less effort.
Yeah.
So, but it depends. You know, you get the quality you get out of a workout depends on what you put into it. In an ideal world, you'd be on a flat course, maintaining 100% steady effort, no surging, no getting up out of the pedals, no coasting, just constant zone 2 effort.
Yeah.
That's ideal, you know.
Yeah, it's always good too to kind of have a discussion with the group at least ahead of time, just to find out, hey, what kind of ride is this going to be, or like, hey, this is going to be a zone 2 ride. If you need to go a little bit harder, go to the front. If you want to like conserve a little bit more energy, or this is feeling hard, jump in behind somebody, stay 2, 3, 4 wheels back and conserve. So and again, I think you guys already touched on this, but riding in a group will make a 3-hour or 4-hour ride go by much faster because you have that, like, you know, you're around other people. You guys are kind of chewing the fat a little bit, talking, and it just goes by a lot faster. It's more enjoyable.
Yeah.
So,
and to make these changes, you have to be consistent. Like if you do one of these rides once a week or once every week and a half, there's nothing for the body to adapt to. It has to be like a load that you keep applying to your body so that eventually things change and you adapt to that. So you've got to get the miles in. There's no real substitute for it.
If it's too easy, you don't get the body adaptation. If it's too hard, you're working a different system. So that doesn't quite work either. Yeah.
So this time of year, roughly what percentage of your time on the bike is spent in zone 2?
Me right now, all of it. No,
like the vast majority of it?
Yeah, the majority of it.
Okay.
For sure.
So, I mean, when will that start to change for you personally? I mean, everybody's going to have a little bit different of approach based on, you know, how they physiologically respond to this kind of stuff, how they adapt, and, you know, what their goals are for the season and whatever. But I mean,
so early season for me, then I'm hoping that I'll actually be able to race our time trial coming up in early March. There is a 60-mile gravel ride the week after that, a gravel race. So I want to start putting in more threshold work coming up in the next, you know, like 4 weeks from now, say, to get used to that. So I've got and then as I get closer and closer to my events, then my training gets more specific to the demands of that event.
Gotcha.
Right now, that is 4 months away, 3 months away, 3 months away. And so I'm spending more time. I think I'm getting a better bang for my buck by laying down this aerobic base.
Gotcha. Do any of you guys ever struggle with holding that pace without finding that you constantly have to be staring at your bike computer?
Yep.
Yeah. That definitely happens. I mean, you get a really good feel for about how many watts you're pushing out, but especially if you're with other people, you're like, oh, I'm in zone 2, and you look down and you're like, oh crap, I'm like 30 watts too high.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a struggle. So my follow-up question to that though is, do you guys ever program your bike computers to chime at you if you get too high or too low?
I've never done that.
I haven't done that. No.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can do
do
that.
that.
And I've always told myself, like, when you do these rides, like, you need to program your computer to do that when you get home. So next time you come out and do it, it's all set up for that. And 100% of the time failed. So I never did that.
I think you would find it annoying if you use that. And I think almost heart rate is a little bit better for having the chime to, you know, to be like, hey, this heart rate's, you know, way too high, versus power, just because, like, when you're on the road and I mean, your power is kind of all over the place a lot of the time, especially if you're with a group. And if it's beeping at you all the time, you're out of your zone. You're out of your zone. You're like, come on, I know, but I just need to get over this.
But that's the thing is, like, if you just need to get over something, you need to dial it back, because you can keep it in that zone too. And that's where you need to slow down. And we do these rides on Wednesdays, and we will hit hills, and I will purposefully, like, slow way down in zone 2, like going 11 miles an hour and everybody's going like 17 or 18 to get over this like minute or 2 minute climb. And they're like 350, 400 watts. And then I get to the top and they're like, oh, they're a half mile up the road. But you can stay in zone 2 and that's where you have to learn the discipline.
Yeah.
I only did one of those rides with you last summer, I think, or maybe it was 2 years ago. But we, out for the dialed lunchtime zone 2 ride. And I'm like, I see this stop sign ahead sign. And I'm like, looking at Jake, aren't you going to go? Aren't you going to go? Aren't we going to do this? And he's like, nope.
We're discipline.
hanging.
Yeah. There's
discipline.
Yeah. You do get the Pavlovian
It just
response.
takes got
to reel that in. Yeah.
It takes discipline, but again, you got to focus on what are you trying to achieve?
Yeah.
Like you're going out, not just on a bike ride, not just on a social ride. You're going out to achieve something for your fitness.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? What is your goal for this ride? And
Sure.
That's why you do zone 2 rides. That's why you do threshold work. That's why you do VO2 max intervals, because you're focusing on one particular goal each time. So don't just ride.
Right.
Have a focus.
As far as timing, I'm looking at my schedule for next week. I have 15 hours scheduled of training next week. 11 of that is zone 2.
Okay.
Wow.
That sounds correct to me.
The rest of it is some
It's a-
sweet spot work and threshold.
Yeah.
Work. Yeah.
And for running too, it's a baffling amount of time in zone 2. You're like, whoa, this, and for most of my runners that are not doing it correctly, they're going too fast for what they should be doing. And
Yeah, it's really easy though this time of year to jump on a trainer and do that, especially if you're going to set it up in erg mode and you can just rock and roll. You're honed in, but in the same breath, that's super hard because you're indoors and indoors sucks. But you're not moving; you're sitting in a static position, and if you're just locked in at exactly 200 watts, there's no variability there, and that kind of sucks. So I will tend to all right, I'm going to do 200 watts. We'll just say that's the number I'm going for, and I know that my zone is 190 to 230 or something like that. I will sometimes vary it within that zone just to create some variability. And then I'll constantly be changing my position on the bike. And if I can make it for an hour and a half or 2 hours, that's mission accomplished for me because,
it's a long time on the trainer.
It's a long time on the trainer. So
like a few of my guys this last week, I gave them homework to do a 1 hour at constant, zone 2 effort.
Yeah.
So whatever that was for whoever, 150 watts for an hour in erg mode, just do it. Because there's some other things I was trying to measure from that, but that's a boring ass workout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On Zwift, I usually pick a pacer bot.
Yeah. With the watts per kilo that kind of falls in line with that.
Falls in that line. And then it's not so...
Yeah.
It's not so monotonous.
Yeah, that's a good
because
recommendation.
I'm trying to stay with a group and there's a little bit of variation with that. And,
Yeah.
and that kind of, for me, Coco is about in my zone 2.
So like a 2.6 watts per kilogram ish, 2.5 somewhere there.
Yeah, right around there. So if I quit paying attention and fall off the group, I go beyond zone 2 to try to catch back up.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
the pacer bots now they vary when they go uphill. They go a little bit harder uphill and a little bit easier downhill. So it's a little more real world than it used to be. They used to stick on 2.6 regardless, and now they vary a little bit. So you still have to pay attention.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
The other thing I was going to say was that, right now I'm trying to stick to a calorie deficit, trying to drop a few pounds, and riding at those kind of intensities are a little easier.
Yes.
Fits in better with that. If you run out of carbohydrates or you get low, it's not such a blow.
Yeah.
It's something you can sustain. For part of that zone 2, you're actually burning fat as a substrate. So the maximum, you're always going to be burning a little bit of carbohydrate, whatever level you're working at. But the actual, if you look at a graph, the maximum amount of fat you're burning is right below this sort of zone 2 threshold.
Mm-hmm.
So if you keep your power, if you keep a zone 2 that is at the low end, you'll be burning through fat as a substrate.
Yeah, you go through what's called the crossover effect after about 20-ish minutes, and then that definitely you get into that beta oxidation where you're burning a lot more fat, and then you are still burning the glucose and whatnot, and you have to process the glycogen, all this stuff, and it's still happening, but it is primarily coming from fat stores, and it's going to be right in that little sweet spot, like you said, just a hair or whatnot, touch below the zone 2, so it's pretty close.
And then think of this as another benefit potentially as well. So you're riding at that level, your body gets used to doing that. So when it comes to a race, right, you're able to keep a pace in the pack and be burning through a lot of fat as a fuel, which is basically unlimited. You can go on for months, at that level. And so
it's more unlimited for me.
Whereas once you start burning carbohydrate, you've got limited supplies of that. So
time bomb.
And you can only take in so much carbohydrates per hour. So the idea is when it comes to those super challenging parts of the race, the surges, the big hills, the sprint finish, you've got some glycose left in the muscles. You haven't burnt through it like others may have.
That's been a big push in triathlon, is like basically spending a lot of time in zone 2, obviously, but like also kind of training your body to burn more fat. And people can do full Ironmans without taking in a lot of carbohydrates because they can really burn a lot of fat. But I always put in a lot of carbohydrates as well. You just almost can't take in enough. It's tricky with your gut.
Especially on a bike race where you don't dictate the pace. It varies so much, and you've got these surges,
when you can eat, when you can't
breakaways, everything. So
just got to stay steady, got to pay attention to the kilojoules burn, and know that you need to be putting stuff in whenever there's a good opportunity. You need to be putting the fuel in you, and do it at a time where if something does happen, it's quick for you to react, and also make the fuel easy to get to, so you're not fussing around with it. And next thing you know, somebody just put in a big attack, and you're like, oh crap.
That's right.
So I actually had that happen in a race one time. I was pulling out some scratched shoes and I was trying to toss something in. Something happened and they went hard. And like I think I grabbed one, and then how many comes in there? Like 10 or 12 or something like that. And I think I dropped like 4 or 5 or 6 of them on the ground. I'm like, son of a bitch, I needed those, and like put it back in my pocket. And I don't know. It's like, it's the Washington State Championship road race. So,
wow.
And actually ended up cramping just a tiny bit at the end, but got through it. But I know if I had those, it would have actually helped me a little bit more. But anyway, neither here nor there. That's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So get out there and do it.
Zone to it.
Zone to it.
Zone to it. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate that. Real quick, if you want to just plug yourself, Ian has just a couple spots maybe left, and it's coming up on that time of year where you should be looking for a coach if you're interested, and he might be interested in talking to you and taking you on.
Where should people go to find you?
Yeah, if somebody wanted to know more about you.
dialperformancecoaching.com.
Nice.
Actually, well, I'll save it for one last thing.
Okay.
Another announcement.
Sweet. Another plug. Cool beans. All right, let's do this. Patreon. And just a real quick preface to this too. Like, you can go to Patreon and you can do all this stuff, but you can actually click on the podcast show and you can kind of go through there. And there's a way to support the show that's not through Patreon, and you can just pick and choose whatever you want. You can tell us to dance around like little monkeys, or make suggestions, or you can set it up to help us on a monthly basis, or just do it a one-time thing, or whatever you want to do. You can actually do it through the podcast hosting platform that we use now called Buzzsprout, which is actually quite cool. But this is for all of the folks that are on Patreon. And if you do go to the Buzzsprout, we'll put you in the bin here, and maybe have to change the name of this section or something like that. But for everybody that does support the show, thank you very much. And we've got some names in the little bin here, and we're going to pull one out so that you can win some fun prizes. Ian pulled it out, unwound the piece of paper, and who might you have?
I have here Stacy Barbadillo.
Oh, Stacy, sweet. Yeah, local cyclist, good guy. Stacy, you won some cool stuff. We've got a big bin of goodies down at the lab that has all kinds of new stuff. We got some socks in there, and the good folks over at SRAM and Zip gave us a bunch of cool stuff as well. I think most of it's going to, at this juncture, fit more women and kid-sized stuff, but there might be something.
There's still hats and T-shirts and socks and water bottles and a bunch of stuff.
So much stuff down there to pick from. But yeah, come on down and pick out a thing or two. And thank you for being a supporter of the podcast. We really do greatly appreciate that. If you want to go the Patreon route, you can go to the dialedpodcast.com. There is a Patreon link there. You can click on that and find out all the different Patreon options that we have to offer. Pick one that works best for you, and Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle.
Robert is your father's brother.
Love it. All right. Our topic for this week is going to be a short one, but it's the end of the year, so I just kind of wanted to have a little bit of a recap. It's been a good year for all intents and purposes. I've had some bumps in the road, but on the grand scheme of things, we had a good year, and I just wanted to know what some of your guys' highlights were for 2024. It could be anything. Anybody got anything that they kind of were like proud of, or that they were stoked on? Maybe a podcast that you really enjoyed, or some guests that we had on, or whatever.
I love it when we do our Tour de France like podcast. That's my favorite time of year for the podcast, because it's so enjoyable to wake up in the morning, watch the tour with a cup of coffee, chill out, and then come talk about it on the podcast. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Fun times there. Ian, what about you? You got anything that you can think of this year that's been like extra cool?
Yeah, two things. One, the most intense day, the most fun looking back, the race was riding my bike around downtown Bend with like
the criterium,
30 or 40 other guys doing 30 miles an hour through the streets of Bend and just hanging on. And that was an amazing experience.
Sure.
And it's going to happen again 2025. I think the Cascade Cycling Classic is going to be a 2-day event, it looks like.
They're moving it to June as well, so a different month.
Oh, it was so much fun. Anyway, aside from that, I got to say, back in January now, months ago, Lance and I were in Tenerife, and that was just a good time, just a best part of the year. I just recently quit my job, became a retiree.
Jij bent een klootzak.
Yes. Went to the sunshine with my friend, rode some awesome routes. It was good times.
Sweet.
There's a route there. Yeah, we're going back. There's a route there called the Mosca Loop. There's this little tiny village called Mosca on that island, which sits on this knife edge ridge in the middle of this like gorgeous valley. It looks like Hawaii is what it looks like. These like Jurassic Park, really deep valleys, and then there's this little tiny village that sits on this crest. And oh my gosh, doing that loop it's one of the coolest rides I've ever done in my life.
I think it's possibly the best road ride I've done. I think I seem to remember it's something like 84 miles with 10,000.
10 or 11,000 feet of climbing.
It was a lot. It was a big day, but then over there you can stop at the cafe, you can get a coffee. It was it was great.
The climb out of Mosca is brutal. It's like 2 miles at over 10% or something like that. Wow. It's really steep.
Well, it's got these 18% ramps on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to stop several times. I like pull over and like, I need a minute for this. Anyway.
Wow.
That was my highlights, 2024.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How about you, Hep?
The thing that comes to mind was being able to win the cross country series again for my age group, for the 50 to 59-year-olds. That was in question for the last 3 races. And it all came down to the very last race at Washougal, the cross country mountain bike race at Washougal. Me and a teammate had been battling for the whole year. Todd Edwards, the Camus Phantom. Mm-hmm. He is a fantastic racer, great on a mountain bike, super good dude. We've been teammates and training partners, and as luck would have it, the two of us were battling to win this. And it came down to the final race.
Yeah.
Like whoever won that race would win the whole 7-race series. And I managed to pull it off that day.
What about the bar stuff? I know that's not technically over, but
it's over because all the races are done.
So you have won.
I've won the Masters Men bar.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, thank you.
Big congratulations.
You can thank Ian for that because I saw him win last year, and I thought,
what are you going to do next year?
I can beat that mother scratcher.
Are you going to go for the bar?
I don't do it again. I don't think I really have a shot at it next year.
Why not?
Why?
Because my category changes in mountain bike, and so I won't get the mountain bike or short track points that I got this year because I'm catting up to Cat 1.
Well, maybe you need to host your own mountain bike race and make it such a hard race to get to on such an obscure day in some
that nobody else
far
can
off
get
land, and and limit the number of people that can enter per category. And
so it's unlikely that I could win next year because I won't get the same mountain bike points or the same short track points because I'll be racing in a different category.
Okay.
And I would have to do a time trial, which I'm not unless one of you idiots makes me do it with you.
Which you will. That's just like
We'll figure out a way.
I'm not going to do it unless I'm going to do it, which I will do it.
So we'll see. So
yeah, I'll be surprised if you don't do, like this time trial that's coming up in March, that would count, right?
It would, but I won't be there. I miss it again. It's on a weekend where I'm in Arizona.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
There's a conference that I really shouldn't miss. That's the same weekend as that race. And there ends up also being a mountain bike race in Arizona, the Cactus Cup, which I can squeeze in around my conference where I can't get back because I drive to Arizona and back. I can't get back in time for the Michael Myers Memorial Time Trial. So yeah. So I wouldn't.
It's like an investors conference.
It's an investor conference for one of my big investments. So yeah, I'm completely traitoring the team by missing it.
Sounds good.
Jake.
I was super stoked to be able to actually return to riding, and pretty much was able to ride from May until mid-September until I had another medical thing pop up on my my bingo card, which was unexpected, but I got that sorted out and it's all good and results are good. I was able to do a fun longer gravel ride with a group of guys. It was kind of nice to return to that. And I know it's just one ride, and we did a few others, but it was a thing of beauty to be able to go back out there and ride for almost 3 hours and not have any pain. Did almost all of the Tuesday night gravel rides, did a bunch of the fog hat. I think he did all the fog hat rides. Those are always fun. The flogging rides were fantastic. And, just was able to do a lot of that stuff and found myself getting more and more fit towards the end of the summer and was actually starting to kind of feel like my old self. So it's nice and a reassuring thing to know that you can ramp back up and you can still kind of have that sense of like, hey, I can still do this riding bikes thing and be like competitive and feel good about yourself. So I've had this, what has it been now? Like 2 months, if not being able to really ride all that much. But the last time I was off for 11 months. So this should be a quicker bounce back. And if I'm able to get back on the bike ride around January 1st, I'm thinking that, well, hey, maybe mid-February, I should be feeling pretty good. And then we'll go to training camp and feeling even better. So I'm kind of stoked to have a decent 2025 if all things come together. So
I feel myself not being able to stay in zone 2 when I'm riding with Jake next year.
I don't know. We'll see if I can get everything to line up. It'll be fun, and we'll just, I don't know. When you want to do something, you just keep getting held back and held back and held back, and then all of a sudden you're like let loose and free, and everything feels good, and you can actually do this stuff. I want to know what's still under the hood. Find out. So it should be fun to see what happens
for the rest of us.
Yeah, we'll see. A couple other things. So podcast wise, I had a few podcasts that we did that I really quite enjoyed. One that I want to start doing more of, because I always think it's a funny thing to kind of talk about and even debate a little bit, is the AITAs. Am I the assholes?
Yes.
Those are fun.
I love those. For some reason, they're just hilarious and they're fun. So, and we did one this year, and that's something I think that we need to have on the radar for next year, because those are always a blast. We had a couple of really cool guests on this year. We had Marley Blonsky on, which was a lot of fun. We had the guys, Troy and Derek from SRAM came in. That was a lot of fun. Good. And a few other people that joined us throughout the year. And I've got a bunch of people that have wanted to come on the podcast, and it kind of falls back on me of I need to get this coordinated and set up and connected and all that other fun stuff. So I'm hoping that in 2025, my schedule won't be quite so bonkers, and I can actually put a little bit more effort into lining these people up so we can have fun with them. And I think probably my favorite podcast for a couple reasons was number 332. And it was just kind of funny talking about, does cycling get easier as we get older? I don't know if you guys remember that one. It was a fun little talk about, just talking about all the funny ha-has of getting old and all that fun stuff. But the coolest thing about that was after that podcast was over, we all jumped on bikes and we went for a ride together, the four of us. That was a great day. So we need to have that be a thing once the weather kind of gets good and we've got the time where we can do that. So that would be cool to see that in 2025.
An easy ride. It was zone 2, if I remember correctly.
Yes, sir. Do you guys have any podcasts that you quite enjoyed this past year? Anything that you can think of off the top of your head?
One I really enjoyed talking about was my deconstructing the Oregon Trail gravel grinder.
Yeah.
Where we were able to talk about my experience doing that race for the second time and how good Chad Sperry's events are,
Sure.
and how cool that event is, and how hard that event is.
Yeah.
And that was that was the end of June.
Yeah, and you and I talked about this too, and Chad has said that he'd be happy to come on the podcast.
He would be.
Yeah, so that's just another person that we need to get into the fold, because, man, the stories that guy can probably tell, from all the stuff that's happening behind the scenes to the cool people that he gets to interact with, and just like the motivation that he finds to keep putting these great events together.
He used to put on the Cascade Cycling Classic.
Did he really?
Like in the multi-day road stage races.
Okay.
So he's got history in the sport too. So yeah, he would be a great guest.
Sweet. How about you boys?
My favorite, and this is, we've been doing these for years. My favorite by far are the hot seat episodes.
Oh, yeah?
Those are always my favorite.
Yeah.
I just find them always enjoyable. We always come up with weird topics, and they go and I like it when a podcast just spirals into rabbit holes and has a really nice flow to it.
Organic,
and I
yeah.
think that our hot seat questions always end up doing that. And I tend to laugh the hardest during like the hot seat questions. They're just funny.
Yeah.
They're always fun and funny. So those by far are my favorites. And like I said before, I love the Tour de France stuff. I love that time of the year. That's just the best. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we do next year.
Sweet.
We do the hot seats basically once a month. So every 4 episodes. So the other thing, speaking of this, we've been super consistent over the years. How many years is this? 6 or something?
We'll be finishing our 7th year.
It's impressive. I don't know what number podcast is this?
351.
351.
351.
Yeah, it's like March or April or something like that. That will be the starting of our finishing our 7th year and starting of our 8th.
So next year this time we'll be around 400. We should do some sort of big something.
Yeah.
We've done these big milestones. We've done them at bars and stuff in the past, which I think is super fun to have a live audience. I would love to do more live audiences. I really do enjoy those. Yeah.
And I think in those 6 years, you know how many times we've missed putting out a weekly podcast?
One time.
Yeah.
One time.
And I think we put out 2 the following week to kind of make up for it.
Yes.
It's just nice that we have a volume of work that's out there. Not that like it's work, but like, you know what I mean? Like we just have a volume of podcasts for people to listen to if they want to.
It's kind of bonkers. If you look at our average podcast length, it's about an hour and 25 minutes. I think if you average them all out, and if you do the math of like, you know, what that adds up to over the course of time, it's a lot of days of like, oh my gosh, you guys have talked that much and put that much stuff out into the world. Yeah, but it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Weeks.
Good
You could listen
stuff.
to us for weeks.
Yeah.
I don't really have a favorite that I've done. I don't think, but I'm pretty new here. It's only been 6 months, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, I was thinking you've been here with us for a year.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he came
I don't
on
know.
early in the year, and we did talk about some coaching stuff. So that, and then you retired, and like, hey, we've got this open microphone over here. You want to plug into it and have
I've
a little
got to
fun?
say, I don't really have a favorite episode, but it's become my favorite day of the week. Pretty much, I come over here and talk bikes with my friends.
Sure.
And, what's better, you know?
So it's funny because I can't stand you guys.
I know.
We know.
But
we know.
It's weird. Like I've known you guys for a long, long time, but mostly we meet for a bike ride.
Yeah.
And there's little talking done then, more breathing and kicking each other's butts.
Yeah.
So it's been good. It's been a good opportunity to get to know people more.
Happy to have you on the team. Yeah. It's a good a good get for us. So anything else about 2024? You guys have anything? Did you guys have like a favorite purchase of the year? That was the other thing that was on my list. And then if you guys don't have anything, we can move on. But anything? Bueller?
Dude,
Bueller?
I upgraded my gravel bike, and I've loved that Envy Mog.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic.
What did you do with your Urus? Do you still have it?
I sold it.
You sold it? Good job.
I actually sold a bike.
Good job.
Most of my retired bikes are hanging in my garage, but that one I actually sold.
Good job. Good job.
Getting pretty close to have 2 of them put up on the Dialed Cycling's consignment program.
I do have a couple bikes for sale.
Yeah, they will be posted up hopefully relatively soon. The photography's all done and the posts are there. We just need to put in all of the specifics on them. So if you want to buy
I have a titanium rain bike for sale.
Yeah.
A Lightspeed Gisolo.
That's nice.
I have my old BMC team machine for
great
sale.
bike, yep.
Yeah.
And soon enough, you'll have a Norco gravel
I have
bike.
a Norco gravel search.
With a fresh new shifter.
With the fresh new shifter. That's a good gravel bike, too. So I've got a couple bikes for sale. So hit me up.
Yeah. That make you a swinging deal.
There you go.
Cool. Ian, did you have anything like a favorite thing that you purchased or get? Or
Outside of maintenance items like chains and tires, I think this is the year I've spent the least on cycling.
That's good too.
Probably because I retired in January and I can't afford to buy any things anymore.
How about you, Matt?
I'm weird in that I get like things all the time. Like every week there's like a new watch and a new bike wheels.
You're kind of numb to it a little bit.
I'm a little numb to it, and I've got a lot of junk. I got a lot of stuff. Got a lot of junk in the trunk, as they say. But this Garmin Fenix 8 has been really awesome. I've really enjoyed that. It's been a good watch.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about
showed us your Apple Watch?
Oh.
Yeah.
I wear two watches.
Matt's double fisting.
That's
over
funny.
this.
You seem like you were pretty stoked on that e-bike.
Yeah.
Is that still something that you're kind of stoked on, or is it like?
Yeah. No, I was planning on riding it up here, but I was kind of late to the podcast already. And so the e-bike is super fun. E-bikes are just fun. E-bikes are just like, they're just like, it is official. E-bikes are just fun.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily like get a workout, but they're just awesome. Like I remember taking it to the grocery store multiple times. Once it's gotten cold, you know, if I'm going to go out on the bike, I kind of want to go get a workout in. So I haven't been riding it as much lately. But anytime the weather's decent, that's fun to just take out. It's just it gets the stamp of like, it's just fun.
Gotcha.
You know?
One last question for you.
Sure.
What was your favorite video that you put out in 2024?
Ooh.
Do you have a favorite? I know it's like picking a child.
No, I mean, I have stuff that, I don't know. I think so I did this. I love the editing process. I think that I'm secretly like an editor underneath it all, like a video editing piece of the puzzle. And I did this one where I was talking about the Vitals app. It's like a new app on the Apple, whatever. And it's just like, there's the parts of the app, like zoom in, that sort of stuff. And that it's been super fun to make stuff like that, where you're kind of either like going, the camera itself or what, it's like going through the product or getting pulled out, and there's apps that are in different places in Z space, and they all end up coming together and looking just right for the app. That stuff is super fun to make. And then I've done some different stuff with like graphing different things and things like that, and then trying to really have like almost like a grunge style to some of that stuff. And I've really enjoyed like adding texture to some of the data that we're displaying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really fun stuff.
That is one compliment you get all of the times, because when I watch your videos, I'll generally like kind of jump down into the comments and just see what people have to say, and like every other person's like, oh my gosh, that transition or at this timestamp or whatever, that was a beautiful intro. It's just all compliment.
Yeah.
So
I get a lot of nice comments. Yeah. It's really nice to hear.
Does a fantastic
positive
job.
feedback.
So
yeah. Cool. So yeah, I definitely I spend too much time on it, and it's all these little things that sometimes are on the screen for 2 seconds or whatever, but it's super fun to try to like make it as good as it can be.
Yeah, if it makes you happy too, that's half.
It does, but
half the value.
Time is.
It is, but it's something it's a body of work that you can go back and look at and then be proud of it.
Yeah, that's the fun thing is like these videos they go up, and when you're like, oh, should I spend the extra 5 minutes on this, and you're like, this video will be up for the next 10 years. So might as well, someone's going to go, like I have people go back and look at videos and comment on stuff from 5 years ago. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
Might as well make them decent.
Right on. Cool. Last question for you, Ian. Do you have an accomplishment of one of your clients who you coach that made you super proud as a coach based on the work that they put in through your guidance? Is there anything that you can think of, or are they all just a bunch of schleps that just need to work harder? He's got a big smile on his face right now, and he's probably thinking really hard about what.
I wish you would have given me some warning on that one.
Hot seat, yeah.
Well, plus, if you call out one of your athletes, then your other athletes are going to kill you.
I'm sure they all did fantastic things.
I'm definitely proud of Tim for battling his way back into fitness after being out all year with a knee injury.
Yep.
I'm proud of Mario for doing every single workout that I prescribed.
Sure.
That's
without
impressive.
complaint, in good spirit, even though most of them hurt. So good job. Good job to all the guys, really. They're a great bunch of people, and I think every one of them have made gains.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anybody have like a notable, I don't know, finish, like maybe like a top whatever, a podium finish or a win that maybe they hadn't had before? I probably don't. I know I'm putting you on the spot, and maybe we can circle back to this next week. But
Yeah.
that's just one of those
There
things.
is, and I can't think of it at the moment.
Remy won or podiumed in almost every crit he did.
Yes, Steve did
Steve
well.
Remy.
Steve did well.
Gotcha. Well, we can come back to that later. I didn't want to put you on the spot too much, but I just think maybe if you knew something off the top of your head, it'd be kind of fun to like share on that too.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Lance, I don't have any questions for you.
That figures.
When you get to my age now, it's like living vicariously through your kids. Now I'm kind of living through my
Yes,
clients.
sure.
They're doing better than I am, and they're it's
Sweet.
something to be proud of.
All right, let's wrap this thing up, boys. It's the end of the show, and it's time for one last thing. And I think this is where Matt Legrand jumps in and says some things about some stuff.
I always post. Well, I try to post a video once per week ish time frame. I mean, I've kind of given up on I was really strict for a long time, and now I'm just like, if it's once a week, if it's once every 2 weeks, I'm not as good as I used to be. But I did post a video yesterday, and it was about the Apple Watch Series 10 after 100 days of using it. And it's a great watch. It fits really well. A lot of the watches that all of us wear sitting around here, we got a lot of Garmin's. They're up on the wrist a little bit higher. They're a little. I would consider any watch that sits up on the high on the wrist a little bit more bulky. So you'll find it like catching on sleeves when you put your sleeves on. You might hit it against a doorknob or something like that a little bit more frequently. But any of the watches that are thinner sit really close to your skin, whether the screen is big or not. If they're thin, they feel excellent on the wrist. They feel like they're just part of your skin. Anyway, the Apple Watch Series 10 is thinner than the Series 9. It's an excellent watch. It does a lot of things. It's surprisingly good. They're making a lot of leeway. They're making a lot of advancements towards being a proper cycling tracker. It's not perfect by any means. It's not going to have Ant Plus ever. But it'll connect to your power meter if it's Bluetooth, and it'll even estimate your FTP. So they're making advancements for sure, and it's good to see each iteration of these kind of make small steps. So that video is definitely worth checking out. The idea is kind of with these videos after 100 days to look at them and see how beat up they are, and so I actually had 2 Apple Watch Series 10s, one the bigger size and one the smaller size. The smaller size, my middle kid has been wearing it, and that one has some scratches on it.
Oh,
so macro lens, you break out the macro lens, you can really highlight the damage that's been done. And if you want to check that out, the YouTube channel is youtube.com/mlegrand, or you can just search for me. And if there's 2 of me, if there's 2 Matt Legrands, subscribe to both of them, because you will not be disappointed in at least one of those.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. Go check out that video. Ian, you alluded to saving something earlier too. One last thing.
I have gift certificates, Christmas gift certificates. They're $75 if you need a stocking stuffer for yourself or the cyclist in your life. It's
Sweet.
A month of Dialed Performance coaching. No obligations. No obligations to sign up. Just give it a try. The gift certificates are, like I said, $75. But you can contact me if you're on our team Slack page. If you're part of that, send me a DM, or you can contact me at ian@dialedperformancecoaching.com.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, go to the Dial Performance Coaching website as well, and you can read more about Ian, and there's a contact form on there, I believe.
Yeah.
And probably the same email link if somebody wants to contact you that way.
Yep.
Cool. That's a good prize. A little gift certificate for Christmas.
Yeah, good gift idea.
Yeah. Maybe I have to look into that. Lance.
Merry frickin' Christmas, you filthy animals.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all I got.
Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Cool. Lance talked about the Bikes for Kids thing that we did last weekend. That was a blast. I was there, did not ride. It's the first time I've missed that ride since we've been doing it. It was the 9th annual, so I was bummed. But I was able to kind of leapfrog the ride. I was in one of a car, and I was just basically like riding in front of everybody and taking pictures and having fun doing that, and had a good time and got some cool pictures. I'll share those here pretty soon. I did share some of them with the team, but the main purpose of that, though, is that it kicks off our Bikes for Kids campaign, and that is us raising money for less fortunate kids to buy them bicycles. And in years past, we've worked with the Vancouver Police Department and the Vancouver school system to identify kids, set them up with a bike. And the ones that are like the most fun is we'll set them up with a bike for this little, and we were doing mountain bikes last time, and they came out thinking they were doing this little mountain bike clinic, and they're going to get to ride these cool bikes and helmets and whatnot. And then just kind of a fun way to spend their like afternoon of their day. We fed them pizza. And then when it was all said and done, we're going to do the group photo, get everybody lined up, and they're like, all right, let's do the photo. And like, oh, by the way, hold on, before I take the picture, those bikes and helmets, those are yours. And then they just explode and you start taking pictures, and the kids are like, it's craziness, and they have a blast. Cool. And so, I mean, we'll do that again. And then hopefully we can even like try and identify certain kids in just our communities. And, it doesn't have to be a big pomp and circumstance and crazy little, party thing like we did with the Vancouver folks, but it could be just a kid that we know would benefit. And if you are somebody who lives here local and you know of a family with a kid that just would, love to have a bike, and the family just cannot provide that, maybe reach out to us and we'll see if we can hook them up. It's right before Christmas time, so we could potentially even help with that now. So that'd be kind of fun. But if you want to help support this whole campaign, we're going to be basically raising money for the next 3-4 months to come, and you can go to any of our social media stuff on Facebook or whatnot, and you can see some links there, and we'll post up some more stuff, and there's links to our GoFundMe where you can donate some funds to that, and the funds are all tax deductible because it's to a nonprofit organization and an entity to support these, and you're going to help us support some kids. Should be cool. Yeah, very cool. Nice. All right, that is it. We are done. We will be back next week with one of these after Christmas. But before then, Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you for listening, and hope you have a great Christmas season and happy holidays and all that other fun stuff. Anything else, boys?
That's it. Don't do it up. Don't do it. Don't do your Christmas away.
All right. We will be back next week with another one of these. And until then, bye for now.
Griswold, where do you think you're going to put a tree that big? Bend over and I'll show you.